Why are you so upset?
We're supposed to pick a path, but they all lead to the same place. A small, sad life. I thought there was another way, but there isn't. And you want me to live the smallest, worst life of all. Yours. You're a hagfish!
Is that his pineal gland?
Steve! Steve!
Now, show me everything!
Boone,
Yes, Jim.
I'm going into the next office.
Yes, sir.
One and all, welcome back. You're here for another edition of Nick's Nonfiction. I'm your host, comic Nick Muniz. We've got a Patreon special, Forbidden and Ancient Knowledge today. We're talking Lyn Buchanan's The Seventh Sense. Astral projection and meditation are a lot like pimping. You gotta have your thoughts under control. You're never gonna lucid dream if you're thinking about your tax return. You hear about the yoga instructor who killed his student before class started. It was considered premeditative murder. Why pay for VR when you could lucid dream? Who needs porn if you could remote view into a lady's locker room? That's level 5. You gotta be in it for a few years beforehand. You've heard of the New Earth Army. This is in The Men Who Stare at Goats. That's what this is based off, or you've seen Stranger Things, that little chick 11. Millie Bobby Brown was remote viewed through Drake's list of underage hookups. If you're here to debunk, you gotta let me bunk first. We should have no interesting stories because everyone is so rational. I'm also ousting myself as a preface because why hasn't this guy been Clintoned yet? He's putting all the government information out there. It's probably a bullcrap load of psyop. Like I said, non-linear warfare is to obfuscate the truth, so nobody knows what the hell's going on and you become apathetic. You know, he was riding by the school bullies, and one of them spoked his tire very athletically, threw a javelin-like stick across the street, landed in his tire spokes, flips over. Thanks, Obama. The kids run away, and he starts having demonic thoughts about his little bully here. And eventually the kid dies in a car accident. So he's like, I shouldn't have used my powers for bad. I am becoming the dark side of the Jedi. That's what went bad in that movie when they killed the goat by staring at it. They realized you could use the power for bad. You know, it's definitely not Lyn Buchanan that caused him to get in a car accident. There's this thing, I've been getting into these fake martial artist videos, and they have the touch of death. And you know, if you hit somebody with it, they might not die right away, but it still counts if they die 12 years later of lung cancer. It's, what are we attributing the cause and the effect to in a lot of these things? Like one of Lyn Buchanan's exercises they do is cloud busting. You stare at a cloud until it disperses. Isn't that just what clouds do? The language of the universe isn't English. It's signs, symbols, and synchronicities. So Lyn is even saying, chapter 1 here, all these could just be coincidences that the universe has put there out for me, but at the end of the day, that's all the fucking universe is. You think you're a friend, and then he calls you. On the deathbed, we're all going to learn that the only truth was geometry. By 1980, they started having a little bit more luck combining these spies with the U-2 planes, and they were getting actual hits on where SAM sites, and they're storing nuclear missile heads. The common denominator, they would say, is the logic. You gotta go where all of the people's minds eventually meet. You're at your psychic buddy's wedding. Hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm sorry it doesn't work out between you guys. That's when the CIA finally fessed up to it. They've been doing it for 30 years. It's pretty gangster. What the fuck are you guys talking about? I wasn't cheating on you. Well, now that you admitted it 3 years later, I guess it's okay, baby. You know Disney's Frozen? They did that so you can't look up Walt Disney's frozen head. The movie Ant-Man. It must be a diversion so we don't find about the inner Earth. I really want to go to the Amazon. They saying you could hear the ants marching one by one. Hurrah, hurrah. This could be Planet of the Ants. Start a new franchise. We seriously do have technology that's cutting edge, and they're not going to tell us until 30 years what we are doing in this decade. So I will just have to put up the brunt of sounding crazy. It's out there. Dream readers. I believe you could remote view me through the night. What is the sixth sense? This chapter was called the seventh sense. Didn't we skip one here? I've tried to make this one work before. You have 5 senses: taste, touch, sight, hearing, smell. What about hunger? What about anger? What are all these other senses I have? Anxiety? These things were built into the human form. They had a meaning at some certain point when we were foragers, but now they're nonsensical. We don't need that. You're intuitive? Put them in the loony bin. I think we need a 6.5 sense. Was that? Oh, it was a movie. That's why they had to skip over it. The 6th sense. You can't live by a graveyard. The 8th sense is then you get turned into Bruce Willis from Die Hard. And he said he was actually thrown out of the chair with force. This is some real exorcism action. Or this Russian guy just has the strongest psychic brain ever. Strong Russian psychic mind can break American rib. Reviving the USSR, Bolshevik ice picks he's got to look out for coming over his head. Now, you drop into Joe Biden's brain. Oh, when is ice cream time again? Buchanan, you're wasting our money. What the hell is this warehouse again? And he's like, I swear to God, it's there. They send a task force and it is underground. Since psychic readings are a sum of percentages, it's narrow-minded to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, one wrong prediction discredits every medium's work. Because this one guy wasn't able to tell heads or tails. Now you know that paranormal is completely fake. This is the guy that gets struck by lightning.
I can't see a damn thing, fake guap. I can't see a damn thing, fake guap. Yeah, they like Stevie. They can't see me. They won't beat me. I'm in that guinea. Look like zucchini. Wanna